Bitcoin's alive, what you gonna do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution. Ay, Bitcoin is the one, no substitution. Ay, with Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing episode for you guys today. We got Omnisat, we got Hathbanger, we got Bunzy. It's going to be electric. It's going to be so much fun, and I can't wait to get into it. So no more intro. Let's get right into this. Let me bring in my partner, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What up? Man, today's an exciting one.
Dude, we've been looking forward to this. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it got pushed back a little bit. And then now, dude, I'm so excited for it. I'm hyped for it, bro.
Yeah. And you know, I'm especially excited for it because I remember back in, I think, June, I was telling you about Omnisat. Remember, I was like, we were looking for the swap. We were like, what's going to be the swap? What's going to be the swap? And then I was doing my little, online investigation, who's behind it, figured out like Bunzy was on the team, and then Jake Gallen was on the team. We had Jake on the show. Yeah. And so I was like, oh man, this is going to be awesome. And then it went quiet for a bit. And so I was like, did they kind of stop working? Did they, are they working on something else? And then next thing you know, Omnisat's back out, and little did we know they had their head down building. So it's going to be exciting getting into this.
A lot, dude. So right now we're hearing about all these layer twos, but there's no one really building on layer one, and these guys are doing it, right? So we have a swap. We're in testnet right now. We're adding liquidity to it. We're playing with it. We got the DeFi feels. It's exciting, bro. It really is. We're doing this on layer one Bitcoin, which is, if I would have told you that a year ago, 2 years ago, you'd have been like, get the hell out of here. It's not possible. There's no smart contracts. But these guys figured it out, and we're gonna find out what's going on with it and all that stuff. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure, yeah.
Let's bring them in. Let's bring up Bunzy. Bring up Hathbanger. What's up, guys?
Thanks for joining us.
That intro is fire.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, dude, that was a fire.
Yeah, it took me about like 2 days to come up with it. I had to use the voice. I'm just messing around. We had Sam Sage actually from the Ordinal community do it for us. So
yeah.
I need that on Spotify.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. So, we're definitely getting Omnisat. Can't wait. But let's kind of get in your backgrounds a little bit. We'll start with Bunzy. Bunzy, take us back, man. Let everyone know all about you.
Yeah, this is actually the perfect time to talk about it because it's with Hath, and that will make sense here in a little bit. But, I've always been kind of a creative mind. I started doing graffiti when I was younger, which led me into making hip hop beats. I never really got into electronic music. I was like, I thought I was like, this badass white guy making beats. I was like, no, and luckily my buddy Andy introduced me to EDM and dubstep and drum and bass. And I started making music. And the reason I mentioned that is because we released some music. We got lucky enough that some of our tracks took off. We were able to tour the US 4 times, in Europe once, but our first tour was with Robotic Pirate Monkey Andrew, and it was my favorite experience. Still, I think it's always going to be one of my favorite things I've ever done, because I did tours after that, but it just never felt the same. It was just everything was so new, and then we had Andrew in the mix, and this guy is really, really amazing. So we did that. We both did music, but somehow we both, music's very difficult. It's a very competitive industry, just like any other, I'm coming to find out. But we both, after that, just stayed in touch, hung out. And then I went to a coding boot camp, I forget when, but Andrew at the same time was coding, which is funny. We both fell into software. And then fast forward, he hired me at his company, Pineapple. And then, the rest is history. I've been learning from him, and he speaks my language, and he's definitely been mentoring me on the development side, largely. So it's been amazing. And it's just so funny to me that how life works like that. I hope that transcended, like, or I communicated that well, because it is pretty fucking trippy.
That's awesome.
For sure, for sure. And so I didn't know you actually worked with like the Pineapple team like directly. So that's pretty awesome, because we learned about Pineapple through Jake when we had him on our show. And I think Pineapple also worked with Emblem Vault, right? Or there's some sort of relationship there. So
yeah, I'm actually helping build their marketplace too.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah, and then whenever I work on something, I always bother Hath for help. So mixed to it.
So you work with Pineapple, led you up to like Emblem Vault and then the Ordinal space and stuff. And then when did you feel kind of like you had a kind of gut feeling that like, okay, this is it for Bitcoin. This is the chance. Whenever Ordinals kind of came on the scene, when was that for you?
That was when I was watching inscriptions. It made sense to me, and like my whole journey through crypto, like I have to also like shout out Jason Klein. Like I never really got I bought it just because like I was like, oh, this stuff's moving. But then I started mining it, and then that's when I was like, holy shit, I'm contributing to a network. It really clicked. But I never got into the art side of it or the PFP. I was like, why the fuck are these grown men like acting like seals? Like, I didn't get it. But he was like, dude, you got to get a funk. And I got a funk and met people like H Wonder who are building in the space and doing, and it just wasn't filled with niceisms. It wasn't like, wag me, GM. It was like pointing stuff out like, dude, there's bad things occurring here. Like, I enjoyed that because like, I don't know, it just seemed like false hopes and all these like false idols were being made and influencers were pumping, VCs were releasing a token every other week. And it was clear to me that it was happening. But I don't know, to sum it up, it was quite the experience coming all the way to Pineapple. And when I got there, it was just building with people that were really sharp, really bright, and capable, because a lot of people LARP in the space, and a lot of people LARP as devs, and they use that to leverage and sell you things like, oh, I'm a developer. It's like, I don't know, I would just be careful around that term. But I don't know, kind of long-winded, forget the question. But yeah.
It's all good, man. That was good answers though. Yeah, I guess we'll hop over to the Hathbanger, man. So you guys want to give us your kind of your backstory as well? Kind of lead us into what Bunzy was talking?
Yeah, dude, for sure. All right, so what's up? I'm Andrew. I'm originally from Vermont, and I grew up like skiing a ton. And so I did the whole ski thing and like was competitive in like slope style and rail jams and all that stuff. So I'm like,
dude was sad. Dude was beast. You will never say it, but search Hathbanger and you'll see this dude fucking soaring.
Yeah, so I fucking love skiing. Love. I can get into that later. But so pretty much I grew up skiing, and in high school I'm like, where am I going to go to college? So then I went to CU Boulder because all my ski buddies are going there as well. So I went to CU Boulder, and the first fall went to a rave for the first time. And then when I did that, we're doing normal rave things, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, music is mass. And then so after that rave, I was like, holy shit, I need to fucking do this. I need to DJ. So I got into DJing, and then started DJing under the name Hathbanger. We got some tracks on YouTube if you guys are looking for any Hathbanger. And then so I did that, and then I met up with this kid, Matt Berryhill, and he was a musician through and through, and he's like, look, like the mashups are cool, but like we need to be making music. So I like teamed up with this kid, Matt, and then we went and we created the band Robotic Pirate Monkey. So then we like started releasing all sorts of tunes and at like one point we were, you know, touring the country, and it just so happens that one of our friends from Boulder was getting into becoming a what would you call it, an agent, right? Like would have like artists and then would then try to book them for shows. Well, I don't know how Max, his name is Max found you, Jared. I think it was probably on like SoundCloud or something, but he contacted Jared, and then he got signed, or Jared and Andy got signed to Circle Talent Agency. And because Matt and myself, and then another kid, Matt, it was funny. It was Matt, and Andrew. But then like we'd go into venues, and it'd be like Matt would be like, "Hey, I'm Matt," and then the next Matt would be like, "Hey, I'm Matt," and then I'd roll up and be like, "What's up? I'm Matt," you know. And they'd be like, I'd be like, "Just kidding, I'm Andrew." Yeah, so then so Max signed Jared, and then we were with Max because he was just a homie already, and then so he signed us to Circle as well, and then he booked our first tour, and that was where we met Andy and Jared, young Bunzy. And so then we fucking toured all over the place. Like, were we in South Carolina that one time when Matt ponied up and drove like 35 hours straight back to Boulder? And then another time you guys came up to my spot in Vermont, which was fucking so funny. And then so sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. So I am, you know, we're doing the music thing, and I realized that like shit, I need more money. Like, this is kind of a grind. So then I was like, you know what I really enjoy? Like, what is music but math, to go back to it? And then, so what are we doing? We're building music with computers. So we're like, when you build EDM, you're literally building it. And so you're programming music. And so then we ended up like getting really into the tech side of the music thing. So like our setup was like, we had a 4-channel mixer and then 2 iPads that we programmed using Maxter Live, because eventually we had like probably like 70 or 80 tracks, and the way that we would play would be like a deck A, a deck B, but then for each track that was playing, we'd play, you know, 4 or 5 tracks, which would be drum, sample, synth, bass, and then maybe another track. All that should be unmastered, so it'd be just stems. And then so we would be DJing our track to be all on Ableton. And so we would, you know, mix between our tracks. And we'd also have the ability to take out, you know, certain parts of, like, have a drum track from one track onto the other track. And you can swap between samples and all that stuff. And then so I got really into, like, programming. And then I was, like, sitting there, I'm like, fuck, how am I going to make more money? I'm like, what do I like to do? I like to program. So it was probably like 10 years ago. I was living in LA at the time, and I went to some classes at UCLA for web development. And I was like, I got absolutely hooked. So then I started like learning, like the first back-end stack I was fucking with was Ruby on Rails, which kind of showed me like what MVC was and how that all worked. And then I got into React through another buddy of ours, James Vernell. He went to like a React code school. He's like, dude, you gotta check out React. I'm like, okay, fine. And then I got into it. I'm like, holy shit, this is like the most banging. So then I moved back to Denver, and then I got a job at this place called Connect Your Home, and that was fucking terrible. And then what they did is they would literally like prey on the elderly in Yellow Pages books, like remember yellow Pages, White Pages, and be like, sign up for Comcast today, and it would literally be an ad which would go to Connect Your Home's like call center, which would then just get routed to Comcast. So it's just like stupid, like middleman, like cable sales pretty much. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, this shit sucks. I'm like writing WordPress. I'd rather be writing React and doing, you know, more fun backend stuff. And so then I got eventually hired by Comcast like straight up. So I worked at Comcast for 4 or 5 years. I was an architect over there, and I helped them build like an internal AWS for like 70 or 80 different developer teams at Comcast. So like you go and provision a server, you could upgrade your servers. There was some other things. A lot of it would just be like running Ansible scripts, and then after, so that was happening, and then full fucking circle, my bandmate is like, "Yo, I just started a Pineapple Workshop. You should join me." And I'm like, "Fuck it!" Sold my fucking car and moved to Rincon because I was also interested in learning how to surf. Because at that point, I fucking like the only thing that gets my rocks off skiing is like hitting. I was just telling Jerry this, hitting like an 80 fucking foot jump, you know. And I'm like, you know, it's just dangerous now. At this point, it's probably like 20, 29 at the time, and then so I moved to California, joined Pineapple Workshop, and then so we were doing Web 2 shit, which was, you know, kind of a drag, and then I think we got someone reached out to us to help them build a DEX on Ethereum, but it would also integrate with RenJS, which is a means for you to transfer value between chains. So like at the time, RenJS had like Bitcoin, Doge, can't even fucking remember what the other ones were. But we built a DEX. We like forked Sushi, built a DEX, and integrated RenJS. And then so that right there was like the start of my Web3 thing. And then we saw Jared over there, just like, dude, that kid is fucking killing it. He's got like this, like, yeah, there was like this alpha group that he had started up with some kid, Damien, and then Hike, who's like our go-to designer now. And then so then we're like, shit, like, let's go full fucking Web3. And that was when we brought Jared in, and he started doing the Block Talk podcast. And so then we were doing that, and then Jared, I remember, dude, when you hit me up and you were like, dude, Ordinals, and you sent me the docs. It was literally like a year and a month ago, because it was literally like right fucking over there. I remember when you were like, dude, download a Bitcoin wallet. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't even fucking know what to do with my hands, dude. Like, fucking, dude, what do you even mean? You're like, dude, you gotta get these crypto punks, or it was like Bitcoin punks, I think you call them, or whatever. And I missed that fucking shit because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But that was literally about a fucking year ago here, in this building. Yeah,
that's wild, man. First of all, that's super wild. Like, both of y'all have like the relationship before, you know, coming in and working together, and then you know, leading up to now, right? I feel like I know y'all a lot better right now. But my question for you, Hathbanger, is like, you know, you've worked on the EVM side to build that DEX. Is it that much more complicated doing stuff over here on the Bitcoin side with the UTXO model chains?
It's different. One thing that's like, that is like glaringly obvious is you don't have like a DA layer, so there's no way for you to like query anything against the chain. I mean, you could go and get that. You can go and get that information from an RPC and then use Order RPC to like decode the transaction information, but it's a lot harder to get. And there's no, like, you don't have smart contracts. It really is what it is. Like with Solidity, you have like, you know, payable functions and like, you know, ownership of certain things that are on chain. With Bitcoin, it's not like that at all. So really, data is king with Bitcoin. So I mean, there's a lot less guardrails, and so yeah, it's something I wish that we had, but at the same time, it's also like kind of it's kind of like beautiful in a way. I don't know. It's very basic. The system is very, very basic, and like obviously Bitcoin's Bitcoin, and it is just like an incredible store of value. And the fact that we had the Taproot upgrade, and all of a sudden we're inscribing shit literally permanently, as opposed to like take any fucking NFT on Ethereum. You're literally, it's like it's an AWS PFP, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's Shizzy's favorite line.
Yeah,
AWS.
Well, dude, and like so I at the beginning of last year I started working at this company called Versatis, and I won't get too deep into that, but their plan is to like you'll be able to run your fucking apps on chain, and they'll be pushed across the globe, and like let's say you wanted to go to Omnisat potentially, it would be you know housed in IPFS in Versatis and ran fucking God knows who where, like God knows where. And then now you have a DApp. These aren't fucking DApps, dude. It's still an AWS sushi swap, you know?
Yeah.
It's still hosted by someone.
That's one thing that, you know, most, like, the internet is a very layered, you know, and I'm learning about routers and a lot of things, and, you know, really diving deep because we're trying to solve some pretty serious, you know, centralization problems. But all these apps that we're using, they're living somewhere that has an off switch. And the DApp is kind of, it's just, no, you're interfacing with something, but once that interface is gone, there's not too many people can operate a terminal and pipe into that and pull out any assets that they had. So therefore, it's like they're kind of setting you up and like building a bridge, and like once that bridge falls, like there's no access to any of that again. So the DApp, as we know it, is very much on the client side, and like the application, the data is still all stored. But yeah, I digress. But yeah, what that's solving is dope.
Yeah, man. So, Bunzy, I just want to ask you a question. So, so Bitcoin, have you always been? I'm gonna guess that you're kind of a little bit of a maxi, right? Have you always been that way, or?
You know, like I started buying Bitcoin 2017, very typical.
Yeah.
That huge rush. I bought it going down, and I was like, oh no, it's yeah. So I just kept buying, and I was like, because I'm a little bit bullheaded in that when I read something, and I read the white paper, I was like, this is genius. But of course, I entered because of FOMO, because the market was ripping. I don't have the cool story of like, I was in Bitcoin in 1980, like all these fuckers lie. But yeah, so so I bought Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. That was my portfolio. And then just forgot about it. And then in 2019, I moved to an apartment, and the garage was not attached to the main building. And I was just like, I saw my neighbor like charging his car and shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I just was like, oh shit. So I started building a GPU mining rig, and my buddy runs a refurbish computer like warehouse. So I would get all these like he was dude. So that's when it really clicked for me. I started mining Ethereum and went turbo mining. And when you open up that terminal and you see you're helping the network find consensus, like that's when I was like, this is it. Like I had a picture of the future of like every home, like in that weird little bubble silver vibe with like a hydro like plant system for food and oxygen. And then like everyone had this box that would be running to contribute to this server. And like everyone would like, you know, it was just part of their house. It's like the common thing. Like I just had this like, holy shit. And then I started, you know, needing to like after I paid off all of the mining stuff, I was like, holy shit, I got Ethereum. I want to trade it. So I got into DeFi. Very bad trader. I learned that. But
most people are.
But what was cool was I thank crypto for making me financially literate. Before crypto, you say Wall Street or bonds or any of these words, I'd shut down. Like when I say like crypto, how they shut down. I used to do that when people would bring up finance, and it's been super liberating to understand, like, you know, how finance works, and like how it operates in not only a political way, but like psychology around it and all of that stuff. Just a very powerful thing. And I have to learn by doing. Like, I have severe, like, bad ADHD, and like I can like I have to try it. And that's kind of what Mullet Punks allowed me to do. Like, I just, like, that's a whole story in itself, but like I just started fucking around and was like, you know, I had a team of very smart people. I was like, hey guys, I'm drawing these mullets. Like, all right, that's cute. And I was like, fuck it, dude. I need to figure out how to inscribe these. So I would just always try out any new technology that would come around. I just put mullets on it. And it really allowed me to learn about a lot of different networks and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride, but yeah, Ordinals where we're at now. It's crazy that billions of dollars of VC funding has gone into all these other chains, and no one can outperform what Satoshi made in the original. And typically in tech, with more money and more resources, you can typically outperform previous models. But that just hasn't happened. And I think that's fucking insane.
Yep. And it seems like the VCs are like trying to run over here now that they realize that, you know, they made a mistake initially, you know, calling for ordinals to die and all that stuff, and even a lot of the other chains, you know, people that live on the other chains, they're coming over here. But how did Omnisat like come together? Like, obviously you guys were already like with the Pineapple team, and then I heard there was some hangover house in Vegas and y'all partied. There was a baby and a tiger. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, 12 times. Yeah, no, it's true. That house will go down in history. But no, basically back to H Wonder. Like, he's been a mentor of mine, and he's a very great filter for me because I'm delusionally optimistic, and I'm like, oh, this will be great. This will be amazing. And I always have ideas. So I've been lucky enough to, you know, work with him and be like, hey, check this out. And he's just like, no, it's not like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, it's not filled with like, it's just like, yes, no. And this is how you can do it better. Because he's launched a lot of products. He's a very seasoned, experienced person. And to me, that's the most valuable thing anyone. I don't care if you've done it for a year and you think you know everything. If someone's worse than you and they've done it for 10, I want to talk to them. And like, yeah, so I hit him up. I was like, same thing with Hath. Like, the BRC-20 and like, not BRC-20 yet, but inscriptions really checked all the boxes for me, because I was starting to get really turned off by decentralization. It all started to seem like a, you know, vaporware. Another site got stood up, another token. Like, when are we going to start utilizing this and like fuck the system? When are we going to like really, you know, this is what got me interested in it. It's like, it's a very, you know, disruptive technology. And all I'm seeing is people using it in the traditional way of just like, here's my company, you want to fund it? And then we make money and then we can disappear. Like, and it just got like a little bit rough. So when I found out about inscriptions, I don't know, there was not, I can't think of like one moment that was like, oh my God, it just really spoke to me on Bitcoin. You know, being able to inscribe base 64 or any type of, you know, type of data in Bitcoin as a like a store of value, like pun intended, like now you can really store data, which is a significant thing. Like, you know, we're in an era where like book burning is still a thing, unfortunately. Like, you can't put anything on the internet. The internet's not open. Like, people will censor it and take it down. And I'm very big into censorship resistant like artwork, and I get why. Don't get me wrong. Like, there are bad things that can exist, but just the fact that, you know, someone can take down, they're like, oh, you used my logo. Like, dude, I don't know. To me, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but it all checked the boxes, and I just started messing around with it. And, you know, Solidity all of that was, I was grasping it, but it was just so straightforward with ordinals that I was like, it clicked, and I started hitting up people, and that's when I hit up H Wonder when BRC-20s got announced. I was like, BRC fungible tokens on Bitcoin, like we need to build tooling, and he's like, fly to Vegas, and that's when I knew. I was like, oh shit, that was a good idea, like, because like I said, he typically is just like, nah, like, what are you?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have. I think you're right. You need to have people like that in your life, especially your professional life, to be able to tell you no, yes, you know, and not just be nice and dance around, because you're kind of wasting time on that, right? But you know, one thing that I think, you know, you seem like a point that you were getting at was that, like, with inscriptions and ordinals, what it really did from my perspective was it opened the chain up to people, right, in terms of being able to build on it. And with Ethereum over there, if you're really experienced, you probably know how to get to build on chain, but it's always like solidity first. But over here, and this is going to kind of lead to a question to Hathbanger, but like someone that has like the C++, the Python, the JavaScript, you know, the React and all that in their brain, it's like when they come over to ordinals, they're like, holy crap, I can use all this traditional, you know, the programming language on ordinals. Did you feel like that, Hathbanger? Did you feel like, oh, well, I can use some of my old tools that I didn't use necessarily as much on the ETH side?
Yeah. But I think that's just because it's fundamentally different. You know, I mean, like what we're dealing with is UTXOs. And then so, yeah, right. I mean, there's obviously a learning curve that's associated with Solidity and Rust, which I think just Solana use Rust smart contracts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, those are steep fucking learning curves. And with Bitcoin, it's like, again, data is king. You make movements based off of the data and the social consensus around that, and then you get to use all your favorite Web 2 tools. I mean, it's like nothing else that's better than it's just more approachable, you know.
Yeah.
Like setting up like hard hat and like running a local chain and doing all that stuff is like, it's really fucking sick. It's like really
I love how you brought that up though, because I haven't really thought about it like that. Is like there's no barrier to entry, and that is significant, because if people are indexing and getting that data and they can inscribe, boom, they're off to the races. And like you know that meme where it's like developers, like that's literally what like Web3, whatever you want to call it, needs, is more people building legitimate things and not just a bunch of good marketing people, because that's all we've really seen is like really good marketing and not really, really fundamentally solid building.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's like on the Ethereum side and EVM stuff, it's like really good marketer, and then they just get one Solidity dev or something, you know, and then they're like, project is on.
The funniest is this, is like, oh, we raised, here's the idea, and then they're like, we just raised $5 million, and it's like, okay, we're hiring a dev now. It's like,
now.
Wait a second. I thought all those like mock-ups you had were working, and they're just like, well, oh wait,
there's no back end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really interesting to point that out though, because I haven't thought about that. And that is pretty cool.
And I was referring a lot to like kind of like these artists and stuff that came in, and they were learning like was it P5JS or whatever, like, you know what I mean? And like they're able to create recursion and all this cool stuff using JavaScript stuff. And I was just like, I didn't see that on the Ethereum side, like regular people learning it and stuff, you know, but maybe they were, and I just wasn't as deep into the Ethereum side. But yeah, that's what I was referring to mainly.
All right, well, let's get into my favorite part of the show. What the hell is Omnisat, and what do you guys do?
What can you do with it?
What can you do with it?
Omnisat is our approach to a decentralized DEX for fungible tokens on Bitcoin. We are facilitating and helping people, you know, move in and out of positions, like typical things that you would do with ERC-20s or fungible tokens on other networks. It's not a radical new idea, but we're building it on layer 1 Bitcoin, which has its, rigid primitive ways. And yeah, we're essentially allowing people to enter and exit positions on BRC-20s. For those that have messed around with them right now, you have to buy and sell these like gift card amounts of them. And it's doesn't help find true price discovery, because, people can do math and be like, hey, if I buy it up to this point, hold this floor. So now, so this is a great example. Like now you can use, okay, I just want that much. You don't have to go shopping around and do weird math in your head. But beyond that, beyond bringing DeFi and people being able to provide LP and earn yield, like that's the why, like people want to make money with this shit, and we're building a tool for them to do that. But the main other avenue is bringing governance to Bitcoin. I mean, it's how it's ran through the BIP system. There's lead maintainers, protocol maintainers, and we really like that ethos and the way that no one can stop Bitcoin. And that's how we want to build Omnisat. We don't want a single point of failure. We don't want like just one team. We want this to be a protocol to some degree of like, this is going to exist forever. That is the goal, is building tooling similar to Bitcoin, and having it be, a network to that degree. And we want to achieve that through governance and on-chain governance, allowing people to vote on, any type of proposals. So we'll be rolling that out slowly, because it's something I don't feel like you rush into, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a short answer, but Omnisat is a revolution.
I love that revolution word, man. Yeah, man.
Did I miss anything? And it also no, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
So where did the idea come from? Like, was it just something you guys kind of thought of it together? Like, we got to we got to be the team that do this.
No, it was just kind of like I was seeing inscriptions and everything, and they were just following the same KPIs of Ethereum. Like it did the same thing, like NFT collection, .sat names, and BRC-20s. And I noticed that there was like, no tooling around these BRC-20s, and there was a lot of activity. Like when Domo made his Dune analytics, and that's one thing I've learned from H2 is like, and Hath, is just data is king. Like narratives are cute, but like and I was just seeing that, and again, it wasn't like a new idea or a unique idea that I had. It was just like, yo, we just got to do this shit. And then, yeah, well, we just rallied and found people that were interested. But it is crazy. We built this thing for how many months with no funding, and it's a passion project essentially that's turned into a fucking behemoth.
So no funding, no VCs, just a bunch of dudes making a cool ass DEX, right?
Yeah, we got Jen, we got females on the squad.
Okay.
But yeah, we're hoping. No, but that's the thing. This literally, and it's going to be difficult, and we'll probably mess up a few times along the way. But this is for everybody. Like this isn't our thing. Like our main, and I know this, but like we want to build tooling for more people to come to Ordinals. We want Ordinals to be bigger than it is right now. We're not done. Like we need to use Bitcoin, because in 30 years from now, we're not transacting at a very high volume. Miners aren't going to be incentivized, and we might just have like 12 networks up, and taking down 12 machines isn't that hard. So I strongly, for multiple reasons, want Ordinals to flourish, and for this to be the hard asset layer. And sure, if you want to go build a video game and use another side chain and another VC funded, situation, go for it. But Bitcoin is battle tested. It's the network. It's the best one for sure. Like there's just no debate. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the way that we trade BRC-20s and other fungible, well, we call them fungible tokens. They kind of act like non-fungible right now, but it's okay, but it's the only reason why the liquidity still comes is because it's Bitcoin. But having this on layer one, trading these BRC-20s, tap tokens, whatever else you integrate into it, it will always there'll always be a market for it. I was talking to you about this yesterday in our private call, that just getting a swap on there, I think we all accept that this swap is probably not going to work as fast as Uniswap, but the fact that we can even just go in and out of positions because there's liquidity pools and stuff like that, people are going to be so happy about that. Right. And you spoke about governance. So typically whenever you use governance to be able to vote, there's a governance token. Is that something that you want me to not talk about right now? Or is that on your mind?
Everything. But one thing I do want to back up is this thing is as fast as Uniswap.
Okay.
No, not as fast, but from the primitives that we're used to with BRC-20s. I don't know if you guys remember waiting for that transfer, the rush to the mempool, but now, I mean, for those that have, done the clunky version of it and you use this, it is essentially what we're doing is inscribing the transfer, sending it into the mempool, and then using that return transaction and putting it into the same transaction. So the transfer and the send go into the same block. So when that block clears, your transaction settles rather than 2 blocks, which is 20 minutes roughly. So we significantly change the way that we interact with these things in multiple ways. And we've done some clever stuff on the UTXO side for UTXO management on the LP pools, because when in theory building a DEX for BRC-20s is just fucking swap them. But when the rubber meets the road, there's a lot of nuances that we had to go through. And for those, I don't know how technical people want to get, but it's pretty dope. It's very dope. Robbie Wasabi came up with a fucking super clever way to handle UTXOs. And again, it's just wild. I've been just fucking addicted to this thing, but it's so cool how many other people have been too. Because try to incentivize someone at a job is tough enough. It's all right, now check this out. You're going to build this thing for no money. No one might use it. And it's called Omnisat. But it's fucking pretty cool that it's made it this far.
Well, I just added, obviously it's Testnet, but Testnet's really close to Bitcoin, right? I just added liquidity to Bitcoin, right? Again, when the hell could you say that in history before today? Even
not
with
layer
Unisat,
one.
Even with Unisat, you're using a layer 2. This is the first time.
Or their module.
Obviously, it's I know it's Testnet, but it's still. I get that feeling that 20 for me was 2020 Ethereum feeling. When I added the liquidity for the very first time, and I feel that nostalgia coming back. But it's on Bitcoin to change.
And then you're about to figure out about impermanent loss, and you're like, wait a second, no. But no, and for real though, for people that earn APY on their Bitcoin or any of these, you're on a centralized exchange. You better believe that, Coinbase, and I mean, let's look at FTX. They gave you incentive to hold your tokens, to have liquidity available to be able to swap in and out easily. But they held the keys. They were the centralized location. And they earned all the fees on that. And what happened when that, the lights turned out? No one could get it. But what's really cool about this is everyone can kind of share on that side. For example, for people that aren't familiar with providing LP, say I have 0.01 Bitcoin and equal amount of OXBT, and you have 1 Bitcoin and a large amount of OXBT. We provide a pool, and we'll both earn fees, but you'll earn your portion based on the amount that you put in. And the way that the banking system set up is it's all for that one person. And now that we can atomically cut the mass, split it up, I don't know, just to me, that's fascinating. You share on the upside of what big financial institutions can do.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how small you bring to the table, because you'll still have, your small percentage of the LP. So Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. You know, one thing you mentioned, and it sounds like you guys are confident about this, but it sounds like you have a solution that seem like, I don't know, you sound confident, so I imagine it's seamless for like the dust limits and UTXO management, right? So you said that someone on your team kind of came up with a clever solution with those, for those like UTXO, and that's the kind of stuff that these users don't see. You know what I mean? Like regular BRC-20 users, we don't see that, right? But you guys see it in the back end, and that's the stuff that y'all ran into. Like, okay, we got to figure this out. But you guys have a solution for that?
Yeah, it's pretty clever. I mean, I'm waiting for it to be open source. Simply because, like, you know, what we've arrived at is, you know, building a DEX isn't, a million people are trying it, but we've come up with a clever way. But yeah, for UTXO management. But that's what good software is. It hides the wires. Like, right now it's kind of a flex. Like, people are like, oh yeah, I have a node. I inscribe this from my own node. Like, yeah, you fucking noobs. But like, no, good software is an iPhone. Like, iPhone is, it's just what the user wants it for. No one cares about the chip. No one cares about the processor. I mean, we probably do on this call. We're like, oh, the M3 chip's going to be so fast. But yeah, good software hides the wires. And that's where, shout out Hike, a good buddy of mine, that we started a server together trying to trade shit coins. And just been, that's like the first friend. I played MMOs and stuff, so I made a lot of friends online, but this was like my first like friend that, like, I didn't know who he was. We were all LARPing anonymous. Like, we thought it was the cool thing to do, like, you know, be anonymous online. And but yeah, we're still working together, and he hides wires with the best.
Hike designed Omnisat. How are you skipping over that?
Well, I thought that was apparent. My bad. All right. Yes, he is amazing at hiding wires, and that's exactly what you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah. So he's the front end designer on all this.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
He is a savage. He came up. Yeah. He is a brilliant Amsterdamian.
And this looks phenomenal. Like, I love the way it looks. Like, the feel of it, it just seems, you know, it has like everything that you would want. You know what I mean? And he did a great job. Great job. Without doubt.
Yep.
But
yeah. Did I mention Hike designed it?
Designed by Hike. It should be right here. Designed by Hike, right at the bottom here.
Yeah. But, you're like, shout out Hike. And I'm like, what do you fucking mean, shout out Hike?
Shout out Hike.
He came up with all of our branding. I mean, he designed the whole app.
Yeah. Y'all are both reading from a script, I know. And he's like this evil like person in the background controlling. You guys are robots. We knew this. I think the 8-bit graphics is really cool, like the design and stuff. But let's get back to that governance token if we can.
There's a token here.
Shizzy has a question about that.
There's a token here that we never heard of called _SAT, and there's a governance button up here, up top here. Is these two connecting at all?
I can answer this. Okay, so what these are, they're like, we literally went and we went and minted or deployed BRC-20s that, like, they represent the mainnet versions. And so we deployed them same exact limit on mint, but then the max mint was the full supply. So in order to like, you know, kind of slow roll this rollout, one thing, you need a lot of tokens, right? But you also need a lot of fucking Bitcoin in order to like make sure that these pools are healthy in any which way. Like H is saying, like between 5 and 10 Bitcoin per pool, like Bitcoin to whatever token. So we're like, okay, shit. Like in order for us to get the actual testnet OXBT, like the mint limit's 1,000, and then so you could have someone who goes on the Unisat testnet and then does like a rapid mint, and then all of a sudden they're sitting there and they're just trying to drain the LP because they have so much OXBT, or fake OXBT, or testnet OXBT, and And then so we're like, well, fuck, what we should do is just like create the tokens that when they get added to the LP, we go and we literally fetch the mainnet price for sats or for OXBT. I mean, we can literally put any fucking token in here. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And so when we're adding the pairs, like when you're adding a pair for it's 0 XBT and the underscore sat, but it's really sats and OXBT. And when you're like, I need to add 1 billion sats, we'll be like, all right, well, let's get the quote for 1 billion sats to OXBT, which is really 0 XBT. And then that's what you're adding. It's like a 50-50, you know.
Yeah,
quote.
there's a few pieces to this. Is like on testnet, it's just like mainnet. So unfortunately, OXBT was already minted, so we couldn't get our hands on it because that would have been ideal, right? Because we wanted to ensure any tokens like this weren't getting used on mainnet. So we inscribed these, did the whole thing, and sent them to Satoshi's address because like this was simply a means of testing, and we didn't want people to speculate. And we know that, and we were trying to be as responsible as possible. But for some of these, the supply, like there's no way for us to be like, yo, hey, guy on testnet, can you send us some of yours? We're trying to do this. So we inscribed it. And the reason we took the on testnet, the full collection is like we were scared if we left it open, people would just mint it and then trade that for testnet BTC, which is hard to get. So believe it or not, it was like that is even a headache to figure out. Like our team was like, oh, it doesn't matter. And like some people were like, doesn't matter. People are going to do what they're going to do. But, you know, a few of us were of the belief, like, if we can prevent people from buying a token that's not going to do anything, let's just go ahead and mint it, burn it, just erase that from, because, you know, we really want to give people a good user experience. And part of a user experience from the beginning is like, you thought you had alpha and bought a token that is nothing. You're like, fuck this thing. That's what,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense then, because we did some research and we found that this is a token that's all in one wallet. So we're like, hey, maybe that's the Omnisat token, and then but now it makes sense because it's all in Satoshi's wallet. And we definitely, I definitely get it now.
Well, it's not in Satoshi's wallet. We have access. We have all of that token.
You have access to Satoshi's wallet? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, fucking later, dude.
Later, interview over.
Fucking billionaire, dude. So yeah, but like it's like it's a way for us to, because there is a what's the word? There's a supply shortage of test BTC, right? And we're kind of playing into that because people can show up and go to Testnet Unisat and go mint the remainder of OXBT, and it's 1,000 per. But like they could just, you know, spend as much as they could possibly spend, and then keep on accruing more OXBT, and then we just didn't want them to come onto Testnet Omnisat and be like, fucking, like here's 1 million OXBT, give me everything you got. So one of our wallets has all of the 0 XBT and all the underscore sats.
Gotcha. So I guess my next question is, and feel free to, if not answer this if you guys don't want to, but I mean, obviously there's a governance, right? And how do you do governance without a token? So will there be, and this is a question I had to ask, will there be a token? And if there is, do you guys have any ideas on how that's going to be distributed? Maybe by incentivizing this or anything like that? You guys can tell us at all.
If you're listening to the podcast, we're going to airdrop everyone a token that's going to govern Omnisat. Financial advice. No.
Okay,
obviously.
okay.
I was about to say, okay.
That just is funny. I mean, anything that we say are just words anyway. So
sure.
I think what I'm trying to get at is we are building mechanisms for governance to exist.
Okay.
And once governance exists, what happens then, right? What the people want. So, you know, what do people want? They want to swap. They want to earn fees. And I mean, this is what this platform is going to do. So I'll just leave it at that.
I got you. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean that's obviously you guys are going through like the grunt work now, like the hard part, and the main focus is getting the swap up and making sure that functions, and then the governance functionality will come as well. So man, I don't know, I'm super impressed with what I see. What's next, and what's the timeline for you guys in terms of like an estimation? Obviously you don't have to give us a hard date or anything, but what are you guys looking at in terms of thinking maybe mainnet a couple months out? Or
Dude, I don't know if Hat stops slacking.
I mean, so right, the problem that we're trying to solve right now is decentralized signatures, and we are again working with our dude H, and H has built a solution. I've yet to see it, but the idea is that each individual can run a process on their computer that will help. Well, we don't own the liquidity, like that's the whole plan, right? And so the way that we can obfuscate ownership is by creating a multi-sig network that will be used to sign these transactions.
So basically users will have to run a light client on their browser or something, or
no one has to.
Yeah.
But people that do would be obviously would get probably
Incentivized.
some of those sweet fees.
Gotcha. I'd do it. Shoot.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, just think about how Bitcoin works, right?
Yeah.
It just electricity to compute, and so that's definitely where we're heading. And we're working with a lot of other really smart groups. Dylan from Bitcoin Magazine, they're working on some really cool stuff at Tribe. And what's cool about this is I don't know, someone said this to me a while ago, and I don't know if it's true, but I found it super interesting. Calculus was discovered in 2 different locations in the world when communication was obviously not what it is like now, but it was arrived at a similar time, which is fascinating, right? I feel like that's what's also happening with Bitcoin is and technology at large, but obviously I'm biased and this is all I'm thinking about. But everyone's arriving at really the same solutions, and people are seeing it, and it's really cool to see. When we did the swap and the transfer in the same block, dude, a week or 2 later, X first had it, and it was that's just amazing to see. And that's what's cool about right now. It's getting a little bit different, but in the earlier day, I don't know, that sounds like a maxi thing to say anyways, but it's very collaborative still. But now, now people are starting to hold their ideas closer to their chest, when before it was just people were yo, fuck it, and then someone would build it, and we'd have a whole new resurgence, a whole new a lot more users. And so I don't know. I don't know.
I agree with you 100% on that. We're kind of close to the point to where there's more VC involvement, there's more investments coming in, and so the genuine innovators, they're still here, but now some of them are getting tugged maybe this way or that way. And I think it's definitely important because we still don't have the infrastructure we need. You guys are trying to be a part of that, right? So I think for the builders out there, we got to realize that there still needs to be that kind of camaraderie from the community to be able to let's get there, you know what I mean? Let's get there, let's cross that line. Obviously it's always going to be ongoing innovation, but we're close as a community. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, putting the time, because this is a lot of y'all's time and effort into this, and it's going to be a solution that we all need.
Dude, and back to you guys, you guys are educating, and even on our side, this is inspiring. It's oh shit, I guess what we're doing is interesting, and but you guys are, this is definitely a we not me type thing, and I think it will continue to be, and doing podcasts, specifically educational ones on projects maybe ourselves or others, is definitely, you guys spend a lot of time on this shit too, that's for sure.
Yeah, For sure.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That's kind of the show here. But at the end, we'd like to give you guys, a few minutes to kind of say anything you guys missed out or anything at all. The stage is your guys, man. Just take the show.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Hath, you got anything?
Just anything to like the Ordinal community, Bitcoin community,
you guys want
whatever.
to thank anybody or whatever you guys like, shout outs, whatever you guys want. The time is yours.
I like shout out Oil Wallet. Those boys have been absolutely fucking like they're building tools that are so needed and necessary for this space. And when we finally linked up with those dudes, it literally was the reason why we got Omnisat out. So it's been immensely valuable. And then the other thing is that like this is all community based, right?
Yep.
This tool is for the community. There's no owner. You know what I mean? Like we're all fucking building this thing together. So like there's no private interest. It's like, dude, here is a fucking swap. We're creating LP and trying to hook all this stuff up while staying off the radar of Gary Gensler. And it's like, dude, let's fucking do it together because that's what it is. It's a public tool. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, dude.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I want to shout out Domo, like for, not only just making BRC-20s, but, also being a huge advocate. And, like when he saw how we're doing it, he's been supportive, we've been able to contact him and, really work through that. And I mean, the whole team, like Jake, H, Rob, the other Rob Wasabi, fucking Mike, V, Jason, Hike, Biz.
Don't forget him.
Biz. And the thing I want to emphasize here is like that's the team to date, core contributors to date. Meaning, tomorrow, like there could be more people. It's like this started, smaller, and if it's up to us to solve how we do that. But before there's organization, there's chaos. And right now the chaos is on layer 1 foundation, and like get involved there and just kind of like be a part of the problem right now. So someone super smart is going to come and, offer more solutions. But I mean, discourse is where this all starts. And now we have something for people to talk about and to complain about and to fucking be like, yo, this shit sucks. And if it sucks, make it better. Like, so yeah, I mean, that's it for me. And Solana was fucking, I don't know.
Trash can. But you guys heard it. So if it sucks, make it better. I want to thank both of you guys. We really appreciate you guys, and can't wait to have you guys on for launch day, man. You guys are ready to launch, man. Please hit us up. We want to go through everything, all the nuances, everything in launch day. So please, we're looking forward to part 2.
Yeah, appreciate it, boys. We really do.
Yep.
See you guys.
Yeah.
We'll talk to y'all soon. See you.
All right, man. Well, that's Omnisat. These guys are legends, man. These guys will be legends. I can't wait for Omnisat's launch, man. I'm really looking forward to everything. I'm so thankful for them to come on the show. Wow, I learned a lot. I learned a lot there.
Man, I really liked this interview and discussion because, like, Bunzy was one of those like people that I would see on my timeline when I first came into Ordinals, and then like the timeline of Omnisat. And they're not doing it with like VC money. You know what I mean? So there's not someone behind them poking them saying, hey, make sure you do it this way, or make sure you get this done, or, we got to make this much in fees and all that, you know what I mean? So they're doing it purely off of, passion. And you can see with like Hathbanger, like you could tell he's just like one of those guys that gets in the zone too, like, coding. And then Bunzy's kind of like one of those like project managers that's just like the puppet master kind of. So it's gonna be exciting, man, once this thing actually launches, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, man. Definitely can't wait for launch. All right, guys, please hit the like, hit the subscribe for us. Definitely check out ordinalrevolution.com. Check out our store, check out our articles, check out everything. We really appreciate every single view. If you cannot watch, you can definitely listen. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify. Check us out there. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Ordinal Revolution. Let's go.